Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jillian Hammer. I am the Group Chief Marketing Officer at Databank, and it is my pleasure to welcome all of you to Databank's Virtual Retirement Tour. For those of you who know, normally we would do these things physically in person, but due to COVID and the fact that it is not going away, as we can see, we have to do it virtually. So this is the second virtual installment that we've done. We did one in August and we're doing another one again today. And we will continue even into next year when we hopefully are able to do some physical sessions as well. But it is my pleasure to welcome all of you to another session with Kojo Addae-Mensah, and we're talking about retirement. And retirement is something that I am extremely passionate about because it is something that, guys, we will all meet it one day. So I really, really hope that you will take notes. You will not just let it go in one ear and out the other, but whatever you learn, you really will apply to yourselves, and you will also share it with your friends and your family. So before we go too far, I would like to ask Josephine, one of my heads of sales, to just say a quick opening prayer, and then we will continue. Josephine, are you there? And can you, in fact, Josephine, before you start, I can see John Bedu and Daniel Kra. John, can you hear me clearly? And Daniel, can you hear me clearly? Oh, they've disappeared. So I just want to make sure that someone can hear me, because I saw a message from Ruben that he can't hear me very well. Okay, so I think we're okay to proceed. All right, Josephine, are you there? Okay, one moment, please. Okay, so then I can't hear Josephine, so we'll just move. And I'll just say a quick opening prayer. Father, we thank you for bringing us here today for another session. We pray that you will guide us and you will help us to impart to others what you would want us to say for the betterment of their future. We thank you and we give you all the praise and all the glory. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, so again, it is my pleasure to welcome all of you. And the lineup that we have for you today is our CEO, Kojo Addae-Mensah, will give a talk. He will share some slides, after which we will have a giveaway. We'll give away a few prizes. Then we will have a Q&A session. And then after that, we'll give away some more prizes. And then we're done. So I don't want to drag it out too much, so we will get started and I'll turn it over to Kojo now. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, Jillian, and thank you all for joining. I'm aware we had over 2,000 people registering, and I hope as we go along, more and more people will be joining. So thank you very much for taking time out to listen to us. Retirement for me is a big deal, and I'm glad we are able to do this for Ghanaians right now, because when I was growing up 30 years ago, I never had this opportunity. So I hope most of our audience are younger folks and not necessarily those of us who are 50 plus who are now thinking retirement is really close by. Those of you who are young and think that retirement is far away, you'll be surprised at how quickly time flies and how it's going to hit you. So this year, the theme that we have picked for our retirement tour is, do you know your retirement number? And by that, we are trying to let you know that retirement is not something you take for granted. You actually plan for it. You need to know how much you need to put aside to get to that amount of money you believe will make you retire comfortably. It is a relative term. Retiring comfortably is a relative term, but just know what you want, how you want to retire, and then work towards it. Because for somebody, being comfortable is just living in a quiet village in a hut and sitting under coconut trees. Somebody too wants to tour the whole world. So it all varies from one person to the other. So welcome, and I'm going to share some thoughts with you, and then I'll be ready to take all your questions. At this point, I will go off video to share my slides before I come back after. Thank you very much. Right, so we're going to get started now. And so today, this is the lineup I have for you. I expect that by the time we leave here, we've gone through why we know retirement planning is important, how to take control of your own retirement, and then how to make sure you know which investment is right for you. So maybe upfront, I should try and let you understand that we are not here to say that this is the retirement product that you should go for, but we are here to let you know that retirement is important, and depending on how you want to do it, and depending on certain variables, what investment is right for you to prepare towards your retirement. And by the end of today too, we'll definitely point you to our website area on our website where you can do all your permutations and your combinations to know what your number is. So to begin with, I would like to say that many years ago, I think everybody would assume that their child or their children were seen as their retirement investment. So you have a couple of children, 5, and these days is dropping to 3 and to 2. And the plan was that, my children will come and look after me in my retirement. So I invest everything in them, and we expect that they will be coming to look after us. I think times have changed. And I say a lot of the time that when I was growing up in the early 70s, and those of you who were even in the 60s will bear with me, that there was nothing called a creche. I mean, you'd be at home living with maybe your grandparents or some house help or something, or aunties, until you were ready to go straight to class 1. At some point, maybe the nursery system came up, but there were no creches where you send your 3-month baby, a 6-month-old baby while you rush off to work. There was nothing like that. And I am predicting that as the years go by, we're going to have old people's homes springing up more and more, where our children are going to dump us and also rush off to work. Because today, all the kids are also struggling to make ends meet. They don't have time to look after their parents. They themselves don't even have enough money to look after themselves and their young families, let alone start focusing on their parents. So it's important that you start planning now to be able to live and survive without your children looking after you. I mean, if that happens, all well and good, but you shouldn't bank on it. And I think what you should bank on is yourself and what you do to yourself today in preparation for your retirement. I always say that, especially in my time at GCB Bank, this issue of retirement and pension even hit home harder, because everybody knows that GCB Bank is probably one of the banks with the widest network and with the widest reach. So a lot of the time, the pensioners have their monies being put into GCB Bank, because sometimes when you retire working, maybe you were working in say, Western region, and then you retire into Kumasi, you definitely need, or you retire into some more remote area. Most of the time, it's GCB Bank that will be there. And when you see the pensioners coming through the door to come for their pension, and sometimes, especially for those who are coming in the first year or first 3 months, the kind of shock that hits them, it's incredible. So I started researching into this and wondering why people get so shocked and then start even blaming government and blaming SNET and blaming everybody but themselves. And I found out that most of the time it was as a result of either ignorance or very bad advice. And if you read some articles out there, you get to find out how people are so ignorant about how their pensions are calculated, how it is that they get what it is they get. And to the extent that some people even don't know that the Tier 1 pension, and I'm going to go into a bit more detail, is calculated just on your basic salary. And people think that their pension is calculated on plus all their allowances and everything they were earning. So while you're in active service, you are earning a lot of allowances, but your pension is being calculated only on your basic salary. And you see that you don't even get 100% of that basic salary. So I'm glad to be able to do some correction to that and give you the advice I think is relevant to you. And I hope you take the advice seriously and then you start preparing the right way towards your pension or towards your retirement. So let me give you a few reasons why I think retirement planning is extremely important. On your slide up there is data that we took from SNET. And just imagine it carefully. I mean, assimilate what is on your screen right now. For every 100 Ghanaians who attain the age of 60, only 2 retire comfortably or are financially independent, meaning that they don't have to depend on anybody or anything. They are very comfortable. 23 must continue working. And 75 must depend on SNET or charity or relatives or friends. So you can see that the situation is dire. And if you extrapolate this to the larger population, then you can tell why it is so important for us to prepare for retirement such that we can retire comfortably. And I'm sure if you look around yourselves, you will see this situation happening. And you sometimes wonder why this old man is still working. A lot of the time, they will just tell you that, oh, they just want to occupy themselves and they don't want to die early. And so when you dig deep, you find out that most of the time it's because they actually need the money. So we now have a 3-tier pension system or framework in Ghana. And I like to try and explain a bit and take some time here. So the new Pensions Act 766 amended to Act 883, I think, yeah, then gave Ghana the 3-tier pension system. Prior to that, we were on PNDC Law 247, which was the old pension law, but the new law now has a 3-tier scheme. So Tier 1, which is to your extreme left, is still the SNET contribution, the social security one, and is mostly for people in the formal sector, though they do have schemes for the informal sector as well. But this is mostly for the formal sector. So these are people who are salaried workers, so to speak. Then Tier 2 and 3 are the significant changes where the private sector was brought in, and where there is it's out of the purview of SNET, but is within the purview of the National Pensions Regulatory Authority, that's the NPRA. So there'll be a trustee, or sometimes the employers are trustees themselves, and then the funds are managed by a duly registered private fund manager like Databank, and that contribution there is 5%. And the benefit is paid out lump sum. Then, or you can also arrange for it to be paid to you monthly. Then you have the tier 3, which also is under either a duly registered corporate trustee or the employer, and the fund manager is duly registered by the MPRA, and you can contribute up to 16.5% of your basic salary towards tier 3. Now, in certain firms, and I'll use Databank as an example, this figure of 16.5 is split equally between the staff and the employer. In certain cases, the employer has more, contributes more, or the employee contributes more. So the way the whole thing works, especially with tier 1 and tier 2, actually, you see that the employer in tier 1 actually is contributing 13%. The employee contributes 5.5%, making a total of 18.5%. Now that 18.5%, 11% of that goes directly to your SNP pension. 2.5% goes to National Health Insurance Authority. And then 5% goes to the tier 2 that you see there. So ladies and gentlemen, if you are contributing to SNP and you have not taken advantage of an NHIA card, you are just throwing money away for free. I know a lot of people look down upon it, especially because most firms will give their staff other medical benefits. But I think it's very important that you still take the NHIA card, because you never know where you find yourself without money and you may need some medical help. You're already paying for it, so why don't you take advantage of it? And if you are not on a tier 3 scheme, or you are in a company that has no tier 3 scheme, you are paying more tax than you should be paying, because you can actually put money aside up to 16.5% towards your pension, not pay tax on that. So when you add all that 16.5 to the 18.5 that I talked about under 1 and 2, your total contribution towards your retirement comes to 35%. Now, like I said, this is for those in the formal sector or those who are salaried workers. I will encourage those of you who do not have a regular income or are entrepreneurs, you're working for yourself. A lot of the time we don't prepare for retirement, and we believe that because I'm my own businessman, I can work hard till the day I die. It doesn't work that way. You never know what can happen to you. Incapacitation can happen, job loss can happen, or you can just grow old and weak, and you need a safety net. It's extremely important that you prepare, no matter what type of employment it is you are in, that you create your own pension scheme. You can, if you are not comfortable with a total private situation, you can still visit SNP or any corporate trustee, and they will help you with how. Oh, I went on mute. Okay, I hope you didn't lose me too much, but let's come back to the SNP situation again for a moment. Now, on the slide, you can see that the average monthly pension paid out by SNP to beneficiaries is 957 cedis. Guys, listen to me very carefully. The lowest pension that is paid is 312 cedis. Now, this figure is even subsidized by government, because there are people who earn less than this. But no matter how much you earned during your working life, you will get 312 cedis as your monthly pension. The highest, and this figure is just as of June, the highest pension paid is 118,871 cedis. Now, this is the general data. And it's a mixture of Act 766 and PNDC Law 247. So, and you can tell if you are a statistician that it really says that a lot of us are earning very, very low pensions. Now, on the top right corner, you see that I have stated that under Act 766, the maximum monthly payment is 15,000 cedis. So for those of us who are under Act 766, we will never, ever, ever, well, not in the foreseeable future, earn more than 15,000 cedis as our pension. So Act 766 is trying to cure this person who is earning 118,000 cedis situation, because the belief is that Social Security has a social element and wealth must be redistributed so that everybody can get some. So the Act has capped the amount that they pay out under Tier 1 to 15,000 cedis. So if you are earning 100,000 and your pension right per the old calculation should have given you 60,000, you will not get 60,000 under the new law. You will be given 15,000 cedis. So think about that very carefully. So it should tell you that, it should tell you why it's important for you to start thinking of the other sources. Now, from the 2 out of 100 that I showed you, there's another slide here that you need to look at. Okay. Only 3 out of every 10 Ghanaians own the home they live in. And this data is from the Statistical Service. The sad thing is that the data that we are having is not getting better. It's getting worse. So the 2 people out of 100 who are retiring comfortably, from the anecdotal data that we are having, that figure is trending towards 1. In the same vein, this 3 out of 10 owning their own home that they live in based on the age profile shown on the screen, that figure is also trending towards 1. The 2 out of 10 who are purchasing is also trending down. And then 4 out of 10 who are renting or living with someone rent-free is trending up. More and more, so I should that one I should say is trending up. The 2 out of 10 too is trending up. That's what I mean. Like more and more people are unable to own their own homes. And it's all a result of poor planning. Look, if you start early and you plan well, no matter how much you earn, you can retire comfortably. Take that from me. Never tell yourself you don't earn enough, because as for money, it will never be enough. No matter how much you earn, just decide that you are planning towards the type of retirement that you want. So SNIT is telling us that they have, if this number has increased. Now it's 1.5. It used to, not long ago, used to be about 1 million. They've done some hard work and got more contributors into their fold. And half of us are earning less than 1,000 cedis a month. And check the 4% earning more than 5,000. So the previous slide that I showed, let me go back to it. You see this one? This is why the average is that low. Because if only 4% are at 5,000, then it means almost everybody is just within the 1,000. So you as for earning enough, we will never earn enough. But we need to prepare. And I'm promising you that if you prepare and you take advantage of all the 3 tiers plus a tier 4, the likelihood of you retiring comfortably is real and possible. So most definitely, you need a plan B. When do you want to start? It has to be now. It has to be now. And this is why I'm saying, for the young ones amongst us, and I'm seeing quite a lot of young faces here this afternoon, and I'm quite happy about that. Christabel, Simon Entry, Jonathan Doche, Francis Keme. I mean, I think we are privileged to be able to have this information now so that we can start retiring properly or preparing to retire properly. Please do not wait till you're 55 before you tell yourself that, hey, it's time to prepare for retirement. Actually, per SNIT rules, you can retire at 55. There's early retirement at 55. This is the SNIT calculation of how you get your monthly pension. So they calculate your average 3 best years. So you would have, no matter how many years you work, they take the best 3 years or your best 36 months, have an average, and then use that number. So on the example on the screen, the average there for the month is 4,500, the average best 3. But they do investigate, because a lot of the time people don't prepare and people don't plan. They start planning at 55. Then they realize that their best 3 average is not going to be good enough. And then they try and scheme to, inflate how much it is that they actually earn. So if you think that you are smart and you can just go and inflate your numbers, SNIT will definitely investigate you and they will try and verify everything before. So don't put yourself under pressure. Just start preparing now. So this is somebody who was actually earning 4,500 averagely. Their last 3 best years was 4,500 cedis a month. They will multiply it by what they call the pension right. And then they will multiply it by your retirement age factor. So if it is 60, your retirement age factor is 1. If you decide that you want to retire at 59, that will be 0.9. If you want to retire at 58, it will be 0.825, and so on and so forth. So if you want to do early retirement at 55, that number will be 0.6. But for the purposes of this presentation, we assume that you are retiring at 60. Now, the minimum under Act 766, the minimum number of years that you should contribute to qualify is 15 years. So you can multiply your 15 years by 12 to get the number of months. And that's 180 months. Now, they pay 2.5% for each year of contribution, which means that your minimum pension right is 2.5 times 15 years, which will give you 37.5%. So with the example we are given, it is assumed that the person has contributed for 240 months. that is 20 years. Because the calculation says it's 2.5% for every year for the first 15 years. So that's the minimum you get, 37.5. But they give you only 1.125% for every additional year, capped at 60%. So not only have they capped the absolute amount that you can earn, at least as at 2020 is 15,000. They've capped your pension right also to 60%. It used to be 80%, I think, under the older law. So it tells you why people get so shocked, because here you are enjoying life at 4,500 basic salary, and then you are again enjoying free fuel or fuel allowance, water allowance, clothing allowance. So those of you who are in offices agitating for more allowances, my strong advice to you is you better agitate more for basic salary. Allowances won't help you in the future. Yeah, I know somebody is saying, Edidi prekum. No, Edidida Edidi prekum. You have to think of the future more than the present. So do not be agitating for allowances, because your pension will not be calculated on any allowance at all. So if you are used to 4,500 plus allowances, one fine morning you wake up, your 4,500 is now 1,900. And then you say, after all these years of contribution, this is what government did to me. They are just applying the law. It's up to you to really know what is going into your pension and plan around it appropriately. Just a quick note on something called past credit. I don't intend to confuse you, but for somebody like me, I started contributing under the old law, and the new law application took effect from 1st January 2010. So what SNIT did, or what the law did, was what I had contributed under the old law was as a lump sum put aside and is called past credit, where interest is earned, I think, at the T-bill rate on that one too. So if you were, when the act was passed, when the act came into effect, as at 1st January 2010, if you were 55 years old, they wouldn't put you onto the new law at all. But if you were below 55, then what you had contributed under the old law will be put down as past credit, and then you continue onto the new law. It was later amended under 883 from 55 years to 50, but you don't need to bother yourself about the complications over there. So I hope you get this point. It's very, very important, because it is the pension right that shocks people the most. So the big question, what is your number? What is that number that you need to hit to retire comfortably? How much do you need to hit that number? What do you need to do to hit that number? I would like to encourage you, even while we are on this seminar, to visit our website. And under the tools section, you will see our retirement calculator. And then you can be playing with the numbers. I'll give you another slide that has all the options. But know your number. This is a very simple example that we put out there to guide people. It's a guide, but it's factual. And underneath there, I say that we have assumed an average return of 15%. We have not adjusted for inflation, nor have we adjusted for depreciation. So yeah, I know that people say, what is the value of 1 million in 20 years' time. What I advise people to do is, every year, we all know, even if you don't believe that the number is accurate, at least there's a number. The government will tell us what the inflation rate is. The government will tell us how much the cedi depreciated against the US dollar. So you can use those as a guide to every year increase the amount of money required. So you are 25 years old today, and you want to retire with 1 million cedis at age 60. If you put that money in an investment instrument or an asset that is earning you an average return of 15% per annum, all you require is 89 cedis a month. By the time you are 60, you would have contributed 37,225, and you would have earned interest of 962,774. This is what the power of time and compounding does for you. The earlier you start preparing, the better. Now, 5 years later, the number almost doubles from 89 to 180. Another 5 years later is doubling again. By the time you are 50, something that if you had started 25 years prior, you would have been contributing 89 cedis. Now you need 3,847 to hit that million. How much is your monthly salary to be able to contribute this figure? If you have time, please start now. Even if you don't have time, start anyway. You have seen that your SNET is not enough. Your tier 2 improves it. If you have no tier 3 in your organization, go for it. If you are self-employed, please, this slide is even more important for you, because you don't have any legally obliged safety network. You can decide to put something aside for yourself or not, but I will strongly advise that you do that. Because if you have time, it makes it easier. So, like I said, this one is our guide for you to bring your mind to it, and you can always do all the permutations that you require when you go onto our website. So when you go there, you will see a variety of retirement calculators. But the one I really want to point you to this afternoon is the one on the top left, retirement number calculator. Know your number and work with your number and work towards your number. But we have all these various ones that you can play with when you get there. And I can assure you that we have the best in the probably the world. Let me proudly say that. We probably have the best, and the options are there. There's obviously calculations going on in the background, but it's so easy. Just go there and do it. It's not, you don't have to have Excel skills or know how to open an Excel cell and do an Excel calculation. You just type the number there. We've done it for you. And work towards it. And it can be done. But how? How? You know, we are not here to, like I said at the beginning, to say this product or that product is what you need to put your money in. But you just need to know what it is you want. So a lot of the time, we don't even put our plans into specific time frames, because you will have short-term goals, you will have medium-term goals, and you would obviously have the long-term goals too. sometimes when I do these presentations in other settings, you would want to associate a short-term goal or a short-term investment with some emergencies that could happen. Because bear in mind, while we are talking about retirement and we are talking about the long-term future, things are happening in our life today. And how are we preparing and planning for those day-to-day events? Emergencies will happen, medical bills could pop up. You would want to plan for school, higher education, build a house or buy a car. And the very long term, obviously, to retire. But before you decide which product it is that you also want to invest in for whichever purpose, you have to know your risk tolerance. We do not ask ourselves the right questions or the difficult question, and we do not answer it honestly. Somebody else said, oh, this product is good, they say it's good, go, and then you are rushing to buy it. You don't ask yourself the questions, especially risk tolerance, which, by the way, is not a constant thing. Your risk tolerance could be high today in November, and in January, certain circumstances will arise and your risk tolerance changes. Only that, as a rule of thumb, the younger you are, the more risk you are likely to be able to take. So how do you determine your risk tolerance? At Databank, this is what we think you should do. Let's say you went in to put some money into an investment instrument and you had a 5 or more year horizon. But you come in to check your balance maybe 9 months later. And the RM you met says, oh, sir, the 100 cedis you came to put in January, today is valued at 80 cedis. How? This is where I've heard some people say, yeah, Databank, they've chopped my money. That's not the case. We invest in different instruments and in different asset classes. We do investments, as an example, on the stock market, on the Ghana Stock Exchange, on the Nigeria Stock Exchange, Kenya, Egypt, Mauritius, Kenya, South Africa. Across Africa, we invest. So you take company A. When you came in January with your 100 cedis, the value of company A was 1 cedi. So when we bought the share for you, it was 100 cedis. But things have happened, and the price of that company A on the stock market has dropped. Once it drops, the value of your investment too will drop. When that happens, you will lose some money. So the question you ask yourself is, if you are not concerned and you tell yourself, oh, this thing, I'm in it for the long term. It's only been 9 months. I just came to check if everything was, how things were going. So it's okay. You are likely to have a high risk tolerance. Because you know what? In the same way it has dropped to 80, from 1 cedi to 8 pesos, it can also just jump to 3 cedis even overnight. There are investments like that. But if you say, this thing, I'm a bit worried though, but anyway, I'll wait small, I won't withdraw yet. You are likely to have a medium risk tolerance. But if you are like my friend who panics and says, geez, you people, you are not correct, you don't know what you are doing, and they take their money, we know what we are doing. We are professionals. This is our daily bread. But you still insist on taking your money away, your risk tolerance is low. So if you know that you have a low risk tolerance, Madam Massa, I will recommend block on your extreme left as the products you should be looking at. These are Databank products. It's what we call fixed income products, where with M Fund, we will be investing in Government of Ghana 1-year bond, 2-year bond, 10-year bond, whatever. Edifund Tier 1, similar. So those are your least risky, or I would say the one with the least volatility, the ones where its prices don't just go jumping up and down and yo-yoing all over the place. So let's say you bought a 1-year paper, it's 17%. So it's growing small. A 2-year paper is 18. Another paper we bought in there maybe for liquidity is 15. So it varies. You could also come here and buy treasury bills directly, where that one, the rate is even published in the newspaper, so you know what is coming, or you have an idea, and bonds. If you were the medium risk person, you can then add, you see that last 3 bullets, ARC Fund, B Fund, Edifund Tier 2. These are Databank products. These ones are balanced funds. So we've mixed the stability of fixed income products, which is on the extreme left, with some stocks in there, so that while the stock market is volatile a bit, the fixed income one balances it also. It balances the volatility out. If you believe that you have time and you can take all the risk in the world, the last block tells you you can buy EPAC, which invests 80% or more of its assets in stocks and all over Africa. Or you can directly come to us and say, hey, Databank, I want to buy Total shares, or I want to buy Gold, or I want to buy Farmel, or I want to buy whichever company is listed on the stock market. So, like I said, I'm not here to say buy product A or product B for your retirement. You can buy any product for your retirement. Just know what your risk tolerance is, know what time frame you have, speak to a professional, investigate the company in which you want to buy the product from, check their track record, check who's running it, know who their regulator is. You can even talk to the regulator to get a sense of how their governance structures are and whether they meet all requirements, things like that, because it's a long-term thing you are going into. So you can't afford, and if you are 25, you are going to be investing for another, 35 years? It's a long time. And as we speak, I don't think there's any investment company, or there is no investment company older than Databank. And we are 30. We are 30. So you've got to really check out where you put your funds and what it is you invest in, and what type of product you have. Normally, like I said, the older you are, the more you want to move towards the left. And the younger you are, the more you want to move towards the right. But everybody is different, and everybody has a different risk tolerance that they can afford to deal with. And if you like, you can mix and match. You win some, you lose some. So finally, I will point you to all the different ways in which you can do your investment. And we have the widest range of options in the country. On Momo, we have our *6100#, which is our proprietary. We have the *73700# with other partners, the *713*100#. We have our partner banks, ABSA, which was Barclays, Access, Fidelity, GCB, GT Bank, UBA, Zenith. And you can visit any of their branches to do your deposits, any of them at all. You can go to our website, www.databankgroup.com, and the options are there, our online services. You can go to myghpay.com, which we partner to do. We have our mobile app as well. It's up and running. It's a great app, to be honest. I'm proud of it. And it's both on the Google Play Store and on the App Store. And we have our co-locations mostly with GT Bank. So in Accra, we have GT Bank in Airport, East Legon, Osu, Opera Square, Medina, La Paz. And then we are with them as well in Ashaiman, Kaswa, and Takwa. But on KNUST campus, the co-location is with UBA, primarily because the GT Bank was a bit too small to accommodate us. So we sought permission from them, and we are in the UBA building at KNUST. We have our independent branches right here at the head office on 61 Barnes Road in Adabraka. We're in Cape Coast, we're in Ho, we're in Koforidua, we're in Sunyani, Takrade, Tamale, and Tema. So guys, retirement planning is no big deal, especially if you are young. Then you should not be afraid of it at all. You can do it, you can face it, and you can retire very comfortably. You can do that at best with the best with Databank. Thank you for listening. And I will now be ready to take your questions. Thank you very much. Jonathan, I saw your thumbs up. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Kojo. And Christabel, yes, we see her, and thank you very much. Before we go into questions, just give me one moment. I'm going to stop sharing the slides, and I know people have put questions already in the chat. So yes, we will follow up with a recording of the meeting after the session. You will all get an email. Everybody who registered will get the email with a link to a copy of the presentation. So you'll get that. But before we take questions and start answering them, we just have a few prizes that we would like to give away, starting with airtime. But we have airtime, we've got some gift vouchers, 50 CDs, 100 CDs, and 150 CDs. So we'll start. What I will do at this point is I will need everyone to lower their hand. Good, fantastic. So I'm going to ask a question, and the first person that raises their hand is who I will call on. And then but don't raise your hand yet, please. Oh, guys. I haven't even asked the question. So can we lower? Okay, fine. Kojo says I should just ask. So, okay, let me just ask, but I hope you can answer. So number one, this is for 20 CDs airtime. And Harriet, since you have your hand up first, name all of Databank's mutual funds. So I'm going to unmute you, and I would like to get the names of all of Databank's mutual funds. One moment. So I'm waiting on you to unmute yourself and give me your answer. But you have like 5 seconds to unmute. Okay, please, very good.
Please, can I get a question again?
You see, next time, I know, Jonathan, I see. Okay, so the question is, name all of Databank's mutual funds. You put your hand up even before I ask, so now you have to answer. Okay, Harriet, let's hear it.
All of the mutual funds. Hey, this is really difficult.
And you have 10 more seconds, and then I'll move to the next person. So counting down, 10. 9.
Is it EduFund? Is it correct?
Okay. That's one. We have more than one.
Okay, EPAC. M Fund, B Fund, and okay, we have the Edu Fund 1 and T1 and T2. Yes, and we have oh, I think that's all I know.
Oh, you've missed one.
Only one?
You've missed one. So I will have to move to the next person. But good try, Harriet. Don't worry. I'll be asking more questions and then you can try again.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I'm moving to Maxwell. Okay, Maxwell, can you unmute yourself and give me the names of all of Databank's mutual funds?
Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I know of Edu Fund, B Fund, M Fund, and that of EPAC.
Oh, great try. But again, you've missed one. So we'll have to move on to the next person. Echo Yaboa. And Echo, please unmute yourself. And hopefully you can get the answer correct. But good try, Harriet and Maxwell.
I was away. Sorry, Mom. I was away. I was doing something. Please.
So you need me to repeat the question?
Can you ask the question again for me? I was actually away.
Okay. So the question is, name all of Databank's mutual funds.
All of Databank mutual funds. We have M Fund. We have B Fund. We have ACT Fund. We have Edu Fund 1, Edu Fund 2, and then EPAC.
Well done. Well done. All right. So Echo, please put your name and phone number in the chat, and then one of my team members will reach out to you with the 20 CDs airtime.
Okay,
all right.
Thank you. I'm going
You're
to drop
welcome.
it right away.
Yes, I'm going to ask everybody to now lower their hands really quickly so that everybody gets a fair chance. And then I've got another question for 20 CDs airtime. So if you can all lower your hands, please. I am still seeing a few hands, so I just need them to go down. Oh, you guys, you don't want me to ask the question. All right, so thank you very much. All right, next question. On which mobile network can *6100 be used? So on which mobile network can *6100# be used? Captain, I saw your hand up first, so I'll ask you to unmute yourself. If you don't get it right, then I'm moving to Mavis. Barima, your hand doesn't count. Yes, go ahead.
I think it's MTN and Vodafone.
Yay! All right, Captain, awesome. So please put your name and number in the chat, and we will send you the 20 CDs airtime. All right, I've got 2 more questions before we do Q&A. So if everyone can just lower their hands one more time, please. And lowering hands, please. Lower, lower. Okay, if you can all lower your hands, I would be most grateful. I still see 5 hands and I just need them to go down. 4 hands to go. Awesome. Next question. In fact, okay, I've seen the hands, it's fine. I won't even do 20 CDs airtime. I'll do 50 CDs gift voucher. So for 50 CDs, Mavis, your hand went up first, John Bosco second. So Mavis, can you mention any 4 of the partner banks that Databank uses that you can walk into and deposit with into your mutual fund account? So name any 4 of the partner banks. So go ahead.
Okay, please, we have ABSA, Access Bank, Fidelity, GTB, and GTB Bank.
Okay, thank you very much, Mavis. So
hello,
again, Put your name and phone number in the chat and we'll reach out to you after, but you just got a 50 CD gift voucher. And then one last question before we do the Q&A. So lower hands, please. We're almost there. If everyone could just lower their hands. All right, next question. Name 4 things that you can do on *6100 hash. So 4 things. There's more than 4. This is for a 50 CD gift voucher. So I'm going first with Charis and then Joyce. Let's see how Charis can do, or Charis. Please unmute yourself.
Okay, hello.
Hi, what's your name?
Johnson.
Repeat it again, please.
David Johnson.
Okay, David, hi. Okay, so the question is, tell me 4 things that can be done on *6100 hash.
Okay, so on *6100 hash, you can view your account.
Uh-huh. Oh, have you disappeared? Okay, I think we have lost you. Or is it our connection? All right, I'm not hearing you. So give me 1 moment, please. Okay, I think we've lost him, unfortunately. So Joyce, we'll go to you. And if you can name 4 things that can be done on *6100. So Joyce, you'll have to unmute yourself. And
hello.
Yes, hi Joyce.
Okay, so with the things you can do with *6100 hash, you can top up your account balance, and then you can check your account balance. You can check your bank statements. I think that's all. I've mentioned 3 out of 4.
Well, 2 of them were kind of repeats. So really you gave us 2 correct ones. So thank you, but it didn't make it. So I'm moving to Peter. Peter, please unmute yourself and let us know if you know the answer. So 4 things that you can do on *6100. Oh, 1 second. Okay, Peter, you can go ahead. He unmuted and then, okay, go ahead. All right, so Peter, you keep muting yourself, so I'm going to move on then. I'll try Modesto, because this is the last question and we're moving on. So Modesta, please unmute yourself. And I'm counting down. Okay, hi.
Hi. Actually, Modesta is my wife, and I'm standing in for her. My name is James Obing. I'm also a Databank. Actually, my phone network is bad. That's why.
Okay. Hi, James.
So please don't give me any hard question. Just something.
Oh, I get the question already. So the question was, what 4 things can you do on *6100 hash?
*6100. You can make deposit. Make inquiry about your account, and I think you can also check your balance from there, and you can get notification from *6. Yeah, I think so.
Okay, James, that was an awesome try, but it wasn't correct.
Right.
You only gave me 2 correct things. So guys, we're gonna pause here.
Thank you.
Godfred, send me your answer in the chat. I see you. So if you can send me the correct answer in the chat, then we'll take it from there. Okay, so we need to move to the Q&A. And thank you guys for your patience. I will turn it over to Kojo. So there are some people who have already put questions in the chat. We'll start with that, and then we'll take it from there. So give me one moment. So you can all lower your hands and only leave your hand up if you've got, yes, Godfred. Okay, you've put all the right answers in, so thank you. Okay, so that one went to Godfred. Clement, I've seen you, but I'll give you a chance to answer another question. All right, so let's start with actual questions regarding okay. So the first question that I see is, how do you maintain a good savings/investment culture? This is from Eric. It says, we know and understand that we have to invest or have some savings, but the discipline is a challenge. So how do you save money when your demands exceed your salary, which is barely enough to take you home? What new strategies can you employ?
Okay, thank you very much. And before I even answer that, I recognize the name John Bosco. I think you were with us at our career and investment seminar. Thank you very much for your support. Keep it up. I think you are a great ambassador for us, and I really appreciate it. So John Bosco, I'm sure you know who you are. Okay, you know, I think during my presentation, I said that money is never enough. And you actually think that your demands are more than what you earn. They are not. You have actually made it more than what you earn. You know what you earn, and you can, no matter how much it is you earn, live within those means. It's your choice. Sometimes we think that we don't have a choice. I mean, some people say it's easier said than done, but it is what it is. You tie 10% of your income, so you can invest 10% of your income. That's what I keep saying that all the time. If you can tithe, then you can invest. But the thing to do, if you are a salaried worker or if you get a consistent amount of money in a bank account, I'll strongly recommend that you set up a direct debit so that you don't have to act for the investment to come into your investment account. It will automatically move. That is what I'll strongly recommend you do. And do not put the money in an investment account that you can easily go and withdraw. Some people say, oh, I have a savings account somewhere, but there's an ATM card linked to that savings account. So something small, no, they just move to an ATM and then pull out the money. That's not what I'm saying. Put it into something that it takes a bit of effort to even do the withdrawal, so that it serves as a barrier or as a deterrent from taking out the money. But more importantly, make it a habit, set up a direct debit, and relook at your expenditure. Sometimes you spend money on things that you want, not things that you need. You think you need it, but seriously, you just want it. Thank you.
Okay, the next question is from Nicholas. He's asking, can someone set up a tier 3 pension account personally independent of his or her employer?
So I'm assuming that you are a salaried worker, you are employed, but your firm has not formally institutionalized tier 3. I think the answer is yes. I need to really cross-check, but because it is backed by law, yes, you can go in and tell your employee that you want a tier 3 deducted from your salary. What you are unlikely to get is if the employer is not in support, then there will be no employer contribution. So it will all have to be your contribution. And then you have to have the added difficulty or the added responsibility of ensuring that you have a properly registered trustee who will look after it. The trustee is the one who will appoint the fund manager, so that's not a problem. But you have to then go for a trustee like enterprise trustees and instruct your employer to send the money to them. So I believe strongly that you can do it, but you will not get the employer part contribution if they are not in support.
Okay, great. Thanks, Kojo. So I'm going to move to those who have their hand up for now. I still have a number of questions in the chat. So Richard, I am asking you to unmute yourself and ask your question, and then I'll follow it with Darlington and Akosia. So Richard, go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you. My question is, with the tools, that is the calculator we have, if you are keying the details or the contributions you want to make, is it that the calculation is being done based on a specific type of fund? That is, if you are looking at the end installments of money you are getting after some period, is it calculating based on an M fund, compound growth necessarily, or an ACT fund, or which type of fund? Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, Richard.
Thank you, Richard. No, it is not based on any particular fund or any particular product. It is assumed an average return of 15% per annum. We used that because, in fact, at the time, the 91-day bill was hovering just around that. Today, the 91-day bill is just around 14%. So it's just a guide. And if you look at all our products, some earn more than 15%. EPAC actually this year is in negative. So it all depends on what type of product that you are buying. But the calculator is not based on any product. It's just based on an annual average return of 15%. It's an assumption. So when you are doing your calculation, you can drop the return to 10% or 5%, or you can increase it to 20% and see how it plays out.
Okay. Good. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Thank you. Okay, next is Darlington. So Darlington, please unmute yourself and ask your question. Darlington, go ahead. Okay, Darlington, I'm not hearing you, so I'm going to ask Akosia to go ahead and unmute herself, ask her question, and then Darlington, if it's working, we'll come back to you. Okay, Akosia, please go ahead.
What's going on?
Okay. One moment, please. Oh, they can't hear.
They can't hear us.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay, so I have a question.
Good. Could you hear us? Yeah, Richard said okay, so I assume he heard us. Okay, is it Akosia?
Yeah.
Akosia, go ahead.
Okay, so I wanted to find out with the calculator and then the amount of money that you have to put in according to your age. Let's say I pick two, one with a higher risk and one with a lower risk. Let's say I pick an M fund and then a B fund. With the amount of money, let's say if you are between 25 and you're supposed to contribute 89 cedis monthly, am I supposed to do that for the both accounts I'm picking, or I could? Is that I want to understand how it works. As in, if I'm contributing 85 to the M fund and then contribute 85 to the B fund.
Okay, so let's be clear here. I will repeat myself, and I hope that we all understand. We did not state any product at all for the table that we presented. We just said, if you have a certain investment that will return you an average of 15% every year, and you are 25 years old, based on the calculation, you need 89 cedis a month. We have not restricted it to any product at all. And if you check the fund fact sheet on our website, you will see that this year, B fund is nowhere near where it returned, let's say, 3 years ago. It varies. And by law, you guys know that we are not allowed, or we are unable to guarantee you a return. It's a guaranteed return is done by the commercial banks with fixed deposits. And in addition to that, at Databank, the one we can say for certainty that you will get X or Y is when we go and buy Government of Ghana Treasury bills for you. So it's not a situation where the calculator is linked to any product specifically. However, the way I'm getting the feedback, I can recommend that based on the recent past performances, you can invest in M Fund as a start, and you will see what we are saying is actually happening. So if you want a recommended product for this afternoon, I will say you all can start with M Fund and see how it goes, because I don't want to bring the complexities of the volatilities. But to answer your question, you could also put money in any investment vehicle that you want. But if you are all to understand how the things work, you start with M Fund, and then when you get more and more comfortable and you get more and more understanding, you can explore the other products.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to know because I had already picked two products already.
Like, are you already invested in them?
Yes.
Oh,
I did it around February.
Oh, great, fantastic.
At the Osu branch.
At which branch?
Osu GT Bank.
Okay, thank you so much for your custom. You can stick to your M Fund for next year and see how it goes, and then you can decide what you do with the others. You don't need to stop.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right.
All right, thanks, Akosia. So, Darlington, I'm not sure if you can hear me and you want to try speaking. If not, then I will move on to Emmanuel. So, Emmanuel, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. And Darlington, perhaps you can put your question in the chat and then we can read it out on your behalf.
Emmanuel Bonnie.
So unmuting himself, I will. Okay, I'm being told that you can't hear me again. So one moment, please.
Emmanuel and Darlington, can you hear us? Yes. Yes. Can you guys hear us? Yes. Okay, that's good. Thank you.
Okay. All right, very good. So I'm going to read out a couple questions for Kojo from the chat. And Kojo, I think I'll give you two of them and then you can. Okay, Akosio, we've answered your question because I noticed you also put it in the chat. So Idrisu wants to know how much can one start with to contribute when saving big for one's pension? And then there are two people who have asked questions on wanting assurances of safety. So you can answer Idrisu's, then I can read out the next one. Yes, so how much can one start with?
You can start with any amount, especially when I go to the university campuses. We even open zero balance account for the university campuses, but any amount is acceptable. 10 CDs, 20 CDs, 50 CDs, 100 CDs, 1 million CDs, 500,000, whatever amount you can afford to, you can invest. And by the way, if it's the direct debit, I said that maybe every month is the same amount that will come. You are not restricted, actually. The way our funds work, you are not restricted at all. Month one, you can bring 100 CDs. Month two, you can bring 200 CDs. Month three, you bring 140 CDs. Month four, you bring 100 CDs. It doesn't matter. You can invest at any time, every day of the week, and any amount at all. So there's no restriction there.
Okay, so the next question, so two questions, one from Wonder and one from Raymond, but they're along the same line. So Wonder says you start investing towards your future, and the next thing you hear is your investment bank has collapsed. I am a victim. My problem is trust. Which investment company should you trust with your future? So that's Wonder's question. And then Raymond says, just for purposes of assurance, how safe are investors in Databank in the face of closure of some fund managers in recent times, so investors don't suffer a similar fate in times to come?
These are genuine concerns that I completely understand why you'd be concerned about that. But this is how I like to answer the question. If you had read the reports around the financial crisis we had, around the closures that we had, a lot had to do with governance. A lot had to do with poor governance structures. Some, but very little had to do with the actual investments that had been made. Because yes, some of the investments are sitting in Government of Ghana bills. And so those ones, you know, are decently safe. But it was all about governance. And when I was doing the presentation, I did say that before you put your money anywhere, it would be good not to just follow what somebody has said, but check out what governance structures they have, who their regulators are, what kind of people are running the show, what their backgrounds are. It's all important. I will never say that it's 100% impossible for any firm or for Databank, as an example, to collapse. I mean, Enron collapsed. There are huge financial institutions in the US that went down. But when you go and investigate it all boils back to governance. And just so you understand, or so you know, at Databank, the products that we put out there, M Fund, B Fund, EPAC, EDI Fund, ARC Fund, they are all companies on their own. That's how it is structured by law. And the way the law is designed really, if any company follows the law to the letter, it is highly unlikely that the companies will collapse or the funds will collapse. Highly unlikely, because M-Fund is a company on its own. It's separate even from Databank Asset Management Company Limited. Databank Asset Management Company Limited is the fund manager for the Databank M-Fund. Databank M-Fund has its own board of independent members. I am the only employee of Databank Asset Management who sits on the board of Databank M-Fund. There are four independent board members there who are also shareholders of M-Fund, who have an interest to ensure that their own money does not get utilized anyhow. And there are scheme particulars designed along what M-Fund can be used for. So when you bring your 100 cedis into M-Fund, we can't get up and go and use that money to go and buy a car or a motor or just chop it. It is written in law what we can invest it in. The same goes for, let's say, EPAC. We've written that 80% will be invested in stocks. You can't just get up. And the board every quarter meets and will ask questions. How much money came in? How much money went out? What did you invest the money in? Why did you invest it there? What is the risk there? What is the mitigation? And all those questions are asked. So before anything will go down south, it's extremely difficult. Unless you do not follow the law and unless you are breaking the law, I don't see how you can collapse. And let me just say also, the fact that maybe Databank Asset Management Limited is no more doesn't mean that M-Fund 2 is no more. M-Fund will be there. The money and the report sits with the custodian, and the custodian is a bank. And the board will find another fund manager, if it should happen that way, to continue managing the funds that have been invested. And like I said, I've used M-Fund as the common example, but it's all in fixed income products. It's almost all in Government of Ghana securities even, and a few corporate bonds. So the money is properly so invested. If the fund manager is not there, the custodian is there, the board is there, you as the investor or the shareholder, you will have access to your funds when you need it. That's how I'll answer the question. But if there are any follow-ups, I'll take it too.
Okay, thanks, Kojo. So the next person will go back to those with their hands raised. I hope everybody can hear me now. I saw some comments that I was off to the side and you couldn't hear. So Bernard, let's try with you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead.
Okay. So I have a question for you. Thank you very much for the education about the retirement packages and then how to plan for that. I have myself used the calculator, right? When you were talking about it in the presentation, I've used the calculator, and it's interesting to see the results I'm getting over here. Yeah. So I think I've got some explanation to what I was going to ask. Firstly, I have a twofold or threefold question. Firstly, I wanted to ask about what the law says about retirement, right? The tier 2 and tier 3, right? Currently, I work with a company, and we have a company that handles, well, I did the requisite, I asked about who handles our tier 2. And we're told that an investment company of sort handles the tier 2 investments. But I wanted to know, does the law allow for employees to probe further, so that if you move into a new company or you move somewhere else, that investment or that contribution follows you there? Yeah. And that's my question over there. And the second question I wanted to ask also is that I looked through your website, and I realized that there is no I was hoping you were selling a service, maybe a retirement package, or maybe something like a mutual fund for retirement or something, but there's nothing like that. So I think it got answered when you started to answer the question of investing in. So I noticed that, okay, so if I invest in M fund or I invest in B fund, I can take it that, okay, this is going to be my contribution towards my retirement. This is going to be my investment that I'm going to invest towards my retirement. Is that what we are trying to get the idea that maybe focus your investment in a mutual fund or in some treasury bills like that, and then invest till retirement? Thank you.
Good. These fantastic points. I'll deal with the law first, So the law requires that the tier 2 that you're talking about, your company appoints a trustee. So the way the law works is that company A, you will have to appoint a corporate trustee who handles your tier 2. Your tier 1 is by default SNIT as the trustee. SNIT also has their fund managers. So when the company appoints the trustee, then the trustee is the one who will decide which fund managers they use. Sometimes companies will also probe further to say, no, we want you to use fund manager A or B, but usually the trustees use more than one fund manager so that they can balance out the risk. And yes, you have every right to inquire further about who the trustee is and whether they are in good standing with the National Pensions Regulatory Authority and all. You have absolutely every right to make all the inquiries that you want around, because it's your money. And then, yes, when you move from company A to B, you can port, what we call porting. I ported when I moved from GCB to Databank because GCB had a different corporate trustee. So it's better for you to port your tier 2 to the current company in which you are so that it follows you wherever you are going. It's not a difficult process. You just fill a form and then the trustees will talk to themselves and take it from there. What is important though is if you are not getting a statement from your trustee, please make sure that you follow and get it, because some companies they will give you a pay slip that shows they've deducted, but the money doesn't actually get to the trustee. So you need to investigate that. Then on the retirement fund, we will hope to launch a specific retirement fund next year. But that said, what you are saying is right. You can decide that you are using your M fund for your retirement purpose, or you are using Eddie Fund 1 or whatever product it is for your retirement purpose. The critical thing, and Akosia, it comes to your question as well, you have to separate your retirement account from your emergency account, from your project account. So you can have 3 M fund accounts, but you know that this one is for retirement, this one is for short-term emergencies, and this one is for medium-term projects. That is what is most important, having a separate account. Don't lump everything in one and think that you are disciplined or smart enough to be able to play around just that one account.
All right. Thanks, Kojo. So I'm going to just go to the chat. There are a few questions here, and I think I'll read a few of them and then you answer them just in the interest of time. So Lillian says, in case you decide to invest 200 CDs monthly and then decide to put an annual 20% escalator on my account, is that possible? So that I wouldn't have to come there every year to do that. So that's one question from Lillian. Then there's another question about David that says, with the M fund long-term, with the M fund long-term, does the earnings every month or year change as the year passes? So I'm assuming that you're asking whether the return is fixed or it will change every year. And then the third question, the third question is from David also, a different David, which says, how do we make money from Databank mutual funds? Is it only when you sell your shares for a higher price than you bought them? And then I think I'll do the last one in this chat, which is, okay. And then the last one is, I also monitor my M-Fund account. And I noticed that my salary account is debited on the 4th or 6th of every month. However, my M-Fund account is credited between the 11th and 14th of the month. What accounts for the delay, taking into account the time value of money? Okay, so I will answer that one. So then, because Kojo has given me that one to answer, I will give him one more, where Xavier says, if I invest in a risky fund like EPAC, is there a chance that after, for example, 35 years of investment, one could lose everything? So let me answer the question on direct debit first, then Kojo, you can go through these questions, then we'll go back to those who have raised their hands. So this is for Lillian. What you're talking about, the service that you're using is what we call direct debit. With direct debit, we have it running through one of 3 banks. So either GCB, Zenith Bank, or GT Bank. If your bank is GCB, then what happens is the way GCB works, and that's the one that we tend to have people kind of, I would say, complain about the most, is because the way GCB does it, they don't only do direct debit for Databank, they do it for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands of companies. So the way they do it is from the 19th, so let's say you want money to be taken out to be deposited in November. They will start going into accounts from October 19th all the way up to the 10th of November. So your money can be taken out of your account anytime between the 19th of the previous month and the 10th of the current month. Then they will lump all of that together and send it to us on the 10th, and then it typically reflects in your account the 11th, 12th. So people complain because they say, well, you know, my money was deducted from my bank account and it's been sitting not growing for days or a couple of weeks. Yes, we are aware of that. But part of the thing is that I would encourage you to, if you are a GCB client, still stay with GCB, because the success rate of your money getting to us is significantly higher than if it is done through another bank. We used to have huge challenges where GCB clients, every month, it was failing for one reason or another. Now that GCB, we're doing it directly with GCB, it's high. So it unfortunately, until they can improve that service to us, it's a trade-off that you will have to take. You can try one of the other banks, but I recommend you stay with GCB, because then we're pretty sure that your money will actually get to us. If it's with GT Bank or Zenith, we tend to have those come out twice a month. So either, I think, the 1st or the 4th, which is at the beginning of the month, or the 15th or the 20th. And then usually that reflects in 2 to 3 days. So it's likely that your issue is with GCB. And if that's the case, I would just encourage you to be patient, because your success rate is definitely higher this way. So now we'll go to Kojo, who will answer the 3 questions. So the first one was the escalator, the 20%. No, we don't.
I don't think we have that functionality yet. I know Enterprise has that functionality, and it's something we need to look at, where we will automatically increase the amount on this side for it to go to your bank to increase it. Alternatively, you can also check with your bank if they have that functionality. I doubt it, but just check. But it's something that we will definitely look into. And okay, so the way the return for mutual funds is calculated is on a daily basis, actually. And so every day we revalue all our funds. And the reason is that I had explained previously that in that pot, we've bought different instruments with different tenors, with different interest rates, and with different characteristics. So every day we will have to revalue what is in the pool and see what that day's value is, and then transfer it to shareholders or investors. So if you monitor your M fund account or your mutual fund account very closely, you see that every day the value is changing by some pesos. Every day it changes by some pesos. So at the end of the year, we know what the performance was. So that's how it really works. And I think there was the question about after 35 years of investing in EPAC, the way it is volatile, can you lose everything? From inception, if you go onto the website and the fund fact sheet, you see the performance of EPAC from inception. But yes, you see that there have been some very high yielding years and some very, very bad low yielding years. But I don't think over a 30-year period or a 35-year period, you will lose everything. In fact, to zero, the answer will be confidently no, because we put in a few safety investments that at least will give you some level of return. But even on the equity side, statistically and per research, we haven't had its entire lifetime getting to zero at any point. I think right now, from inception to date, the lifetime of EPAC is sitting at 26%. So it will be a statistically rare moment if that should happen.
All right, thank you. So, Leonard, I am going to unmute you. I see you've put a question in the chat, but I'll give you the opportunity to ask it. So you can unmute yourself and ask your question, please.
Okay, hi, good. Is it afternoon? Still afternoon, yeah, good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Yeah, all right. So my question in the chat in there was with tracking our tier payments, because I work with an organization that pays tier 1 and tier 2 on the behalf of our office employees. But with the SNIT, we all know that, okay, SNIT sends statements and you get to know your best years and all that. But is the tier 2 and the tier 3, is it the same SNIT that we'll go to find out our best years or how much is due us after retirement? And also, this is on the side when it comes to, as someone before me mentioned, getting data set, or I use the app for all my investments. I have M Fund, AC Fund, and EPAC. I do all three, and getting debited from my mobile money wallet, and seeing the reflection 4 or 5 days later. It's quite sometimes it's quite troubling. I don't want to call customers and say, oh, do you guys have my money yet, or is the money hanging somewhere that I cannot trace? So that's on the side. I'll just say that perhaps I may have a solution to that, though. I'm the sales manager for Dream Mobile. I work with Slide Pay and Billbox, so I might offer a solution for that if you are available to listen. So then that's my 2 questions.
I don't think it's an aside. I mean, if you have a better solution, why not? I mean, it's for the benefit of everybody on the call right now on the seminar too. If you have a better solution, but maybe you should understand that I will use this opportunity to also remind people that we are not a commercial bank, and we are not regulated by Bank of Ghana. So there are certain things we don't have the license to do. And that is why we have to work with partner banks for what it is we do. So sometimes you should understand that when the money has moved from your Momo, unlike the commercial banks where they have direct links, like they have their own, like GCB has a *422#, you knock it from your Momo into the account, it will go direct, or from account to Momo, it's direct. With us, the money is moving from Momo to maybe even your account before it will move from your account to our collection account in whichever bank. Before it will move, we will see it, and then we move it to our custody account with a custodian bank before the investment is actually done. So it goes through certain loops, but it's okay. We can listen to your solution at all times. I think you can put your details in the chat. The team behind the scenes will pick it up, your name and details and what it is you have to offer. We'll take it from there. To answer your tier 2 and 3 question, no, tier 2 and 3 has absolutely nothing to do with SNET, not at all. And when I was answering a previous question, I was saying that if you have never seen a statement for your tier 2 and your tier 3, ask your employer, who is your trustee? Who are your trustees? If it is your employer themselves who are acting as trustees, then demand the statement. Because like I said, even at SNET, they see cases where on a staff member's salary slip, it will show that SNET deduction has been done, but it has never reached SNET. So you have to go to your corporate trustee and demand a statement. If they won't even do it for you through your HR or through your finance department, you ask them who your corporate trustee is. Go there yourself or call them and demand a statement. But when you retire, there are processes that they go through. You will not go through SNET, but through your employer. Letters will be written, and then you fill some forms, and then after a few weeks, you will be able to access your money. I will advise, a lot of people talk about tier 2 and tier 3 as lump sum. Please, I'll advise that when you retire, don't go for your tier 2 and 3, boom, lump sum. You will chop it without knowing. You can still take it out in bits and pieces on a monthly basis so that it is still in an investment vehicle to keep growing. Okay, I understand the prices change and is revalued. What I am asking is that there's some dividend distribution as well for the fund holders, or you only earn based on okay, on capital gains. You said no, okay. So David, no, your return is not only capital gains return. When companies pay us dividend, it is added to the return and redistributed to all shareholders at the time. So your answer is okay. You said you get it, but it's not only a capital gains play. When dividends are paid, we also pass it on to you.
So Galaxy A11, I am trying to, please unmute yourself, ask your question, and then we'll follow it up with a question from Paul. We are pretty much out of time. So what I would encourage you to do is, if we have not had a chance to answer your questions, because we wanted to keep this to 2 hours, put your question in the chat or send us a message, send us an email. You can send it to marketing@databankgroup.com and we will answer the question after this event. So I have unmuted Galaxy A11, hoping that they will unmute themselves and ask a question. Okay, please go ahead.
Okay, hello.
Hi.
I think my question has been answered.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm
fantastic. Okay. All right, great. Thank you.
Hello.
Paul, I will ask you to unmute yourself.
Okay. Hello.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon.
Yes. Good afternoon.
Please, I just want to seek an advice. I have M-Fund and EPAC, and now that EPAC is not doing that well, every month I put 500 and M-Fund I put about 300. What will you advise? Do I have to do the reverse, looking at how EPAC is doing now, or because it's a long time something, I should just maintain it. Thank you.
Why don't you want to answer that? Oh boy, we always get questions like that. I don't know. You know, it always depends on your risk profile. Like I always say, if you can stomach it, then I'll recommend that you leave things as is. But if you feel you are quite nervous, you can swap it and take the higher amount to M fund and the lower amount to EPAC. But if you really can handle it, the year that EPAC will shoot, you find yourself smiling from ear to ear. But I think you can flip your 300 to 500 and your 500 to 300, and that should also be fine. But what you shouldn't do is stop.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Paul. And we'll do Edna as the last one. So Edna, please go ahead. Okay, Edna.
You know something? Do you go to bio.fact?
Okay, since we're unable to get Edna, I will unmute Bernard. And Bernard, please go ahead with your question.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
Yeah, my name is Bernard Bertie, and I want to know, I think most of my questions have been answered. The first it has to do, I was going to ask the recommended products, but for now I can see is the M fund. So I'm going to touch on it in two questions. First, it has to do with being a retirement, because it has to do with retirement. Is it possible you can ask so that you don't get access to withdrawal? Is it possible you can ask for your, I don't know, whoever, but is it possible they can restrict if you are doing one specifically for retirement? Is it possible you can tell so that they don't allow you to do withdrawal? And the second question has to do with, since retirement is good to start from an early age, is it also allowed by Databank to also do some for, let's say, my daughter who is so young, and later in my name and later on transfer, or is there a way to go about it? But maybe she is not of age, but I can start in my name and later on transfer it, because I don't know if it's prudent or is something you can do. Thank you.
Very prudent and very wise. You're a wise man. Your daughter will live long and will maybe look after you. But anyway, yes, you can place a lien on your account. This will be your own self-imposed lien. So we can place a lien for you so that when you want to withdraw, it's not allowed until some condition. So you can come and give us whatever the condition is, but we'll place a lien on your account, so no withdrawals will be done. And you can open the account for your daughter. We call it an in trust for account, ITF. So it will be your name in trust for your daughter's name, and it will be there. But she can't access it until she's 18 years old. Then you can transfer it into her name. So those two are possible.
Okay, thank you very much, Kojo. And we are just about out of time. So David says, thanks a lot. He's clear now. And if you have topped up your account on Monday and it's still not reflecting, just send an email to info@databankgroup.com. There's a whole team there that will help you to resolve all of these issues. As Kojo said, because we do partner with different institutions to help get your money to us, it is not all the time that it goes smoothly. There are times there are hiccups along the way, but one way or another, you will get your money and your money will get invested. So thank you very much for that. So I just have a few more things to give away, because we have money and I can't take it back. So I would really, really just like to give away like 3 gift vouchers, and there are 2 for 100 CDs and 1 more for 50 CDs. And what I'm going to do this time is, instead of doing the raise hand thing, I will actually read out the question, and the first person to type the answer correctly in the chat, I will call them out and they will get the prize. So whether your hands are up or down, that's fine. But I'm going to read it out, and please get ready to type and put your answer in the chat. So this one is for 50 CDs. It says, under the new act, what is the maximum monthly payment that anyone will receive? Yay! Hey, Godfred, that was fast. 15,000 is the correct answer, and it goes to Godfred Anand Kumi. Godfred, that was really fast. Okay, so next question, because yes, this one is going really quickly. So maybe I can even give away 1 more 100 CDs. But Godfred, please allow the next person to get a prize. Okay, next question. What is the minimum number of months or years you would need to contribute to qualify for your monthly pension? So you can give me months or years, but what's the minimum amount that you would need to have contributed? Woo, all right, George, no, hang on. The correct answer goes to George, no, to Samuel Okai. Wow, these came in really quickly. Yes, so it went to Samuel Okai. Hold on one moment. Let me just check my, no, Samuel, you said 150 months. That's not correct. It's actually, so the answer goes to George Addae, which is 15 years or 180 months. So George Addae. And George, I don't know if you know Kojo.
Wow, is this?
We don't know.
My own George Addae. No, there can't be more now. Is this Nenyi? What?
Hold on. George, if that's you, please identify yourself.
No, he's an MP.
Oh, really?
If it is him, anyway.
Okay, so George, I'll keep looking at the chat. If it's really you, let us know, and so that Kojo will be happy. Okay, so next question, because now we're flying. So George, you just won a 100 CD gift voucher. Please put your phone number in the chat just so that we're absolutely sure that you are the person we're getting in touch with. So put your name and number in the chat. Okay, next question. What is the maximum percentage of your basic salary that you will receive? Maximum percentage of your basic salary that you'll receive. Maximum percentage. Yay, Godfred. Godfred got the answer, and the correct answer is 60%. George, I see your phone number. Thank you. So Godfred, thank you very much. 60% is the answer. Okay. All right. So guys, the prizes are not done, even though they're done for this moment. We have another promo that will actually be running, and that one, somebody will get a phone out of it as well. So you will all get an email after this session where anybody who tops up with 100 CDs or more will get a 20 CD gift voucher, and it can be into the fund of your choice. And no, Godfred, you will not get the phone unless, so with the phone, everybody who tops up, we will do a random draw from that group, and somebody will get a really nice phone. It will not be an iPhone. So it's nice, but it won't be an iPhone. But somebody will get a phone. So you'll get an email. Everybody will get the email tomorrow with all the details and the time frame. You will have between now and November 30th to do a top up, because at the end of the day, this is about investing towards your retirement, and we want to encourage investing. So you will get all the details. You will get the 20 CD voucher, and one person will also get a phone. And yes, it is every deposit, yes, will get the voucher. All right. So you'll get all the details. Guys, I would like to thank you so very much for staying in there for 2 hours. It's been wonderful to have you on board. Kojo, thank you very much for all your answers and your feedback. And I would just like to wish you all a good and safe time, because I would like to, especially on behalf of Kojo, remind everyone that COVID is still with us. So stay safe, stay home if you can, and try and do as many things virtual as you can. And yes, to ask more questions, please send us an email to marketing@databankgroup.com. So marketing@databankgroup.com, and we will definitely give you all the answers, and we'll send out the link with this recording as well. So I'd just like to call on Josephine, who was supposed to have done our opening prayer, to do our closing prayer. And let me see if I can find her and unmute her. Give me one moment, please. Okay, Josephine, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay, please go ahead.
Okay, so we are praying. We are praying. Our Father in heaven, we bless you down. So grateful. We are indeed very, very grateful for a successful program such as this. Father, we have heard and we pray that your grace, Lord, will enable us take or execute whatever it is we've heard today. We pray, oh Lord God, that you open the eyes of our understanding so that we get to know the essence.
Amen. Amen. Josephine's voice disappeared.
Preparing towards our next speaking, and which you help us.
Amen. Okay, thank you all. I think we're having some connectivity issues. So receive the prayer. Amen. And we'll continue again. Have a wonderful rest of the year, and we look forward to your continued investments with us. Thank you and goodbye.